Welcome back, strategic angling fans. My name is Brady. I am the host of this show. This episode is brought to you by K&K True Value in Bettendorf, Iowa. I've been wanting to make this video for a few weeks now and just haven't been able to get somebody else here that's a lot more knowledgeable in ice fishing than I am. So I'm making it myself now that I've been doing it a little bit and feel like I've acquired the gear to talk about it. So this video is not going to be about technique. It's not going to be about finding fish because really I suck at both of those right now. This video is more about, what gear do you need to ice fish safely and successfully. So I'm going to break this down into three different parts. What's the ice gear that you need out on the ice if you're going to do this? What's the bare minimum you can do to get by? Ice fishing is a great way for people to get into this inexpensively or expensively, of course. What do I need? What makes things nicer? And what makes things really nice? Like what's the Taj Mahal of all the crap you need? So if we start off with what do I need, I think there's a couple main things. One, you need to be safe with what you're doing. Ice picks. So if you're gonna be out before other people or you're gonna be out early ice or late ice, they make these little picks. I left mine in my truck. And K&K has them, that help you get out of the ice if you fall through the hole. They're little spikes, they go around your neck. You should have those if you're going to be out in anything less than like 4 inches of ice. Probably should have those all the time, but once there's a lot of people out, I can understand not bringing them every time. The other thing you're going to want to have if you're going out early ice is what's called a Spud Bar. It's just basically a bar that you smash on the ice to check if the next step you're about to take is safe or not. So, ice picks, Spud Bar, and if you really want to get safe, maybe a flotation device. If you're a bass guy, you have a PFD, you could wear that. Or they make little PFDs, that inflate when you go in the water, in case you go in the water. So, flotation, picks to get yourself out, and a Spud Bar, if again, early ice, late ice. Some people use those things all year round. Once it gets to be a certain amount, I'm comfortable not using them. So that's the safety part of need. I'm glad I got that covered because everyone should be safe on the ice. Ice fishing is no joke. Be safe. So the next thing I'd want to move to is what do you actually need to fish? And if we're talking bare minimum, all you actually need is a way to drill a hole or make a hole and a rod. So I don't have a hand auger. Hand augers are relatively inexpensive. K&K carries them. Hand auger is a great inexpensive way to make yourself a hole and get a workout. This auger setup I have probably can go into the, really, really nice category. This is a Strikemaster Light Flight 8-inch bit, very lightweight, paired with a, high torque drill. I've got DeWalt. Milwaukee's a great option. And I'm not going to go into that debate, but with a lithium battery. So this is a very light, quick way to drill a lot of holes, and I've been very impressed with this setup so far. We may do some testing in the future weeks with guys who have Milwaukee or guys who have a K drill or guys who have Eskimo about who's the best, but you need a way to drill a hole. The other thing you need to do is get yourself a little ice rod. You technically can put whatever size reel on it. Obviously helps if you have a small 500 size or 1000 size reel, probably 500. This is a cheap setup from Abu Garcia. It's the Veritas Ice Combo. I think my buddy got this for Christmas for like $50, $60. Works for him. Gets down the hole, helps him catch fish. And if you're on the river or you're on a pond, making a hole and sticking a lure down through it is really all you need to get started. There's a few other things that you may put into the kind of need category. Like a scooper is really helpful, but again, you could get by with kicking out ice with boots or scooping it out with a hand, but they make these things called scoopers, which are basically just little mini funnels that you can scoop the ice out of your hole once it's drilled. That's really nice, so you don't have ice shavings in there and your bait can get down easily. So those are the kind of things that I put into the, the very basics category. If you're fishing at night, you need light of some kind. I've been using this DeWalt Spotlight. People have been using the headlamps. Those are very helpful. Again, I would think those are going into our middling category of things that would make it easier for you. Again, you could do it at night with very little light if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it, but you certainly could. So if we're moving on to other things that make life easier for you, but they're not maybe the Taj Mahal option, I would talk about spikes on your boots. I recently put these on mine. Haven't had a chance to use them yet, but I've seen enough people not slipping to know that if there's not snow cover on the ice, you're gonna have a slippery day. I was out at Lost Grove the other night for 4 hours, didn't have these, you know, drilled plenty of holes, almost fell and hurt myself a handful of times, so I went and picked some of these up from K&K. You know, spikes on the bottom of your boots if there's limited snow cover is outstanding. Waterproof boots of some kind really help, especially if you're using a power dogger. Once you punch that hole, you know, water comes up out of there and gets all over your feet, and if you don't have the proper footwear, that's probably the end of your day if you're below freezing temperatures. Let's talk more about our middling category. Heater. Some guys use them, some guys don't. I have the Buddy heater that I bought from K&K here. This is just the portable Buddy. I think it's the $80 or $90 model. This thing is surprisingly warm. I'll talk about what I heat, but right now, you know, heater can make life nice for you, especially if you're fishing in very cold temperatures like we've recently been experiencing. So a heater, I power mine with the little 1 pound propane bottles. You can get adapters that let you take a full-size bottle out there and then you never really have to change them. But right now I've been using the more expensive $1 option with the bottles. I also, of course, had to get myself a little bit nicer rod. This is a clam rod of some kind. It's a 26-inch light action. I've been trying to catch crappie, not very well. And then I've got the 13 fishing, you know, drop down on them reel. Makes it a little easier. But again, you don't need a nice setup to do this stuff. It's pretty simple tactics. One thing I'd recommend to help you with success is some light lines. So I've got some Sunline 6 pound. You know, Suffix makes a 4 pound option. That's ice brand. I really don't know if I buy into the fact that there's advantage to buying invisible ice line versus normal fluorocarbon. Some guys say that, you know, the water it brings in, or you know, some guys tell me there's an advantage. I think these are mostly catch fishermen, but we'll find out eventually, I'm sure. The other thing I've got are these. I don't have very many jigs or spoons yet, but I've got these little tungsten jig heads. It seems like a tungsten jig head and a wax worm can catch fish, all kinds of fish, just about anywhere during the ice season. You know, drop it down to the bottom, find the bottom, bring it up a little bit, and sit. And we'll talk about the last piece of this that I have in the Taj Mahal category, but I would consider, you know, in the normal category, and that's some kind of electronics. So, you know, Vexilar is probably the brand to buy if you want an ice flasher. Been around forever, pretty inexpensive. There's tons of models out there. You know, Vexilar would really make your life a lot better because those fish are throughout the water column, and knowing that and where your jig is at is really helpful. I mean, I would almost call it must-have, but it really isn't must-have technically. But man, electronics through the ice is a need. Which brings me to one of my last points in Ferrari category, because I don't do anything halfway. I get all the way in, even though I've never really ice fished before. I ripped one of my units off the boat. I had a transducer, so I've been using active target on the ice, and my goodness, is that awesome and really fun. Except when the fish aren't biting, that's not fun. But this is a 12-inch HDS Live, powered by a Amped Outdoors, you know, ice style lithium battery. I got the 30 amp hour 12-1. Custom printed shuttle from Wisconsin. You know, I've turned a lot of heads out on the ice with this combo. It's a sweet setup, no doubt, but this is not necessary whatsoever to ice fish. But boy, is it fun, because you see fish swimming from all sides. It's a great way to determine if you're around fish. You can see structure really easily. I mean, it's got all the same benefits that it does when you're out on the water, normally, not on the ice. So you by no means need this, nor do I recommend you buy this if you just want to get into ice fishing. The other thing I've purchased that's made life a little easier and allows me to fish at night, I've got a little one at home and I haven't had as much time, so I've been going out, you know, 8, 9 p.m. at night and going fishing into the dark. I got myself a clam Nanook, I think Nanook XL, 2-man sled flip combo, right? You can operate that with one guy. Gets you out of the elements. With the heater, you can sit in there in your shorts and a t-shirt if you got that heater cranking. Makes it really nice, but you lose your mobility with that. But if it's very windy, cold, that's the only way you can be out there, in my opinion. The other thing you can get yourself invested into that put yourself in the Ferrari category is some kind of full head-to-toe suit. You know, you're out in the elements. You're not protected by the wind. We're not normally fishing in these elements. The AFCO Hydronaut is a great option for head to toe coverage from wind and the elements. Very warm, very insulated. K&K has a ton of AFCO stuff. The Hydronaut's a great option. Clam also makes an option that's a float suit, so it has some float capability built in. Really, really warm. I don't know if that's one you could really use not on the ice. The nice thing about the Hydronaut is you can kind of use that all year, but this Clam one is really, really warm. Again, K&K's got those down there. I've really been enjoying the Sims Guide Series Fingerless Gloves. This is the old version. I bought the new. I don't have them with me right now, but I like having my hands covered, but I like my fingertips uncovered. And these have a little bit of weather resistance, waterproof to them. I love these gloves. If there was one thing out of this video that you haven't seen before that I'd recommend buying, it'd be these gloves because they rock. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Again, I'm very new to this ice fishing thing. You know, it's something that it can get out of hand quick for you if you're not being safe. So again, I caution everybody to be very safe. But I think, you know, this is a little bit about the gear you need to successfully ice fish. You know, I'm having a ton of fun with it. I'm trying to find crappie and bluegill. I did not think those things would be so difficult to find, considering I see them all the time on this thing when I'm bass fishing. But now that I'm trying to catch them, of course, I can't seem to pattern them too well just yet. I know we're relatively new to ice forming, so local lakes are safe. Again, please test, please drill. Don't take my word for it, but I've been out to Lost Grove, has plenty of ice. It's been warm the last couple days though, so be sure to check. But let's see, Tuesday night, which was 2 days ago, 8 inches of ice out at Lost Grove. I have not been on the river yet. I know guys that are out there catching fish on pool 14 and 13. Ponds are, you know, probably relatively safe, your smaller bodies of water. I think, you know, ice fishing is a great way to make the winter go by for me. And hopefully something in this video is helpful to you. And if you're considering getting into ice fishing, I think, you know, these are some of the basics you need to have. So I don't know what my next video is going to be about. It might be more on the ice. I might go out and film some ice fishing vids. I'm not sure yet, but I wanted to at least start out with here's the gear you need. And if we break it back down again, the simple thing is protect yourself, drill a hole, have something drop down that hole, and have a way to see the fish and see your surroundings. That's what everything here kind of boils down to. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We'll be back next week with another episode of Strategic Angling. I also have great news to share, and Strategic Angling has been picked up for a second season. So these videos are not going to stop anytime soon. We may be going to a different format, but I'll talk more about that once we technically get to season 2. So outdoor shows coming up next month. We're about a month and some change out from the outdoor show. Get that on your calendar. It's a great time to go talk to your friends, talk to your buddies about fishing. K&K has an awesome spread. I think the show is going to be back in full force this year. Go down to the outdoor show. But again, I'm rambling, and this is another episode of Strategic Angling presented by K&K True Value in Benton, North Iowa. See you next week.